gentlemen, Merry Christmas. My name is Nicole Alvarez from KROQ. I'm sitting here with Duke, my trusted boyfriend. My guest today actually, he is what I like to call a jack of all trades, a Romeo, a businessman, an entrepreneur, a genius, a savant, a quirky fella, a golfer, a music lover, a people person. He is none other than, drum roll, Steve Rennie, ladies and gentlemen. Well, well, well.
Thank you. So nice to have you. Yeah, there you go.
Look what the Duke dragged in.
Yeah, I guess I'll just sit here, big boy. Don't get up.
Let me start by telling you that I can really get used to this.
I can tell you're very comfortable already.
Well, earlier when I was sitting here, I said something like, I was like, dude, I need a pen, and boom, a pen appears. So like, being the boss really kind of helps get you what you want when you want it.
Thanks for coming by again today. This really means a lot to me to have my friends.
I'm in charge. I'm supposed to be thanks for coming by the show today.
Sorry. I'll be a guest.
Now you look at me and you go, thanks for having me. I have a couple questions I've been wanting to ask you forever.
Yes, fire away.
I'm glad that we talked about your peaceful walks with Duke, because you are an idea man. Like, you are always on. You're on fifth gear. Your motor's always running. How have you organized your thoughts in order to make them work for you and create a successful career?
The thinking part is easy, right? And in fact, almost too easy sometimes. I think about wacky ideas all the time, and I'm spewing them out all the time. The way I get some of those things done, once I figured out something that we want to do, is I've been lucky to have a great group of people. You'd mentioned it before we got on camera, that Rennie, you really have a great team of people working with you.
Yeah, the guys behind the scenes.
And it's true. And when we first did our first broadcast, it was kind of just really seat of the pants. I mean, shit was breaking all the time. We had no idea. And then I did what I've done in the past, which is, okay, then you should do this, commit to the idea, and now bring in some folks that can have you do what you do, which is sitting here and talk and have a conversation with our friends in the business and with our members out there that are watching, that are interested in learning about the business. The toughest part of doing it sometimes, and I'm going through it every day now with this website, is you question whether you're doing the right thing. Is this bullshit? Should I be wasting my money on? Does anybody care? Does, any number of things come into to stoke your fear, insecurity, and paranoia.
But none of that has held you back.
Because at the end of the day, I've gotten used to just doing it and accepting the fact that I could have some miserable, horrible wrecks of ideas, and I have, and some horrible ones. But I just know you got to do it. And so that's what our mantra here is: dream it, do it. And you've done the same thing in your career.
Absolutely. You know what? You're talking about having all these horrible ideas. Sometimes you have to let them play out, and you have to put your ego aside and just keep doing it until you find the diamond in the rough. There's always that one idea, the one that sticks, the one that works.
Every person I've had in here, right? And some of these are folks like yourself that we've known each other for years, and then there's folks I've known twice as long as you. And there are certain common denominators of people that have succeeded in the music business or in any business for that matter, and they have a passion. They weren't doing it for money in the beginning, right?
There's no money in the beginning. No money in the beginning. No money. Nothing. Ramen noodles for dinner every single night.
If you want to get through that, you better have a feeling that you just have to do it, right? And so for some kooky reason, I feel like doing this little show of ours is something that's fun for me, but it's something I know is helping people. I get a lot of great feedback from folks out there, and it inspires me to do more of it.
You ended up being the manager to one of the biggest bands in the entire world, and then some, because your resume is fantastic. But did you grow up going, I need to be in control, I want to be the boss?
I'll say this. I've always enjoyed driving.
Sherlock.
And I've been on teams where there are other people that are driving that are the captain. Early in my career, I was very conscious of the fact that I was working for my boss and that my mission was to make my boss look good, not in a patronizing type of way, but I wanted to show him that I had value to the company. And I think for people that are just starting off, I said I worked for some guys that were mentors of mine that allowed me to be a part of things. But my role was clear. But what I learned even back then is that whatever my role was, even when I wasn't the captain, the mission was to own your piece of the puzzle. And I say it to all the guys here will go, oh God, here he goes. But it's a big part of when you're putting together your team is people owning their position, having their own pride about what they're doing. And I think over time, I worked myself to a place where I could be, as I like to say, Brandon and I kid around all the time about the committee of one. I've worked as an entrepreneur and worked on my own for most of my career now. Although I've worked at a record company, I worked at a concert promoter, but I like driving, and I can accept the responsibility of it.
Do you recommend that people go out there and try and do it all by themselves, or is it important to have a good team in place?
There's a big case to be made for working for somebody else that's doing what you want to do at a higher level. When you started off, you had some people that hired you in at radio stations.
I worked for a guy named Bubba the Love Sponge.
Bubba the Love Sponge, right? And so they kind of showed you some chops, I'm sure, and prepared you for the day that you're the headliner, right? You would do well to try to find some mentor or a situation that would allow you to learn the business with as little risk as possible. And just remember that all of you are really just prepping for your great moment.
This is a question that I ask all my rock bands. You've traveled the world, met some of the most eclectic, interesting people in the entire universe. I mean, because music industry folk are characters. Out of everything you've done, what's been your one pinch me moment where you've stood there and been like, I can't believe, is this real life? Is this really happening? Something that's just goosebumps from head to toe.
At the beginning of the Morning View tour, or album cycle, we did an in-store at Tower Records in New York City, and some of our Incubus fans in New York will remember this. And that night, U2 was playing across the street at the Madison Square Garden, and I walked out there, I think with Mike and Jose or Kill or somebody, after the in-store, and I walked out, I said, you know what? We're going to be playing that place someday. Fast forward about a year later, Incubus was actually playing at Madison Square Garden. I went out, I took a picture of that thing again, and those are the moments you have, even as a manager, those moments of thinking, you know what? Fuck yeah.
Yeah, it's a good feeling. Good. Okay, first of all, do you want to switch? Because I see you aching over there.
Yeah, I should. Okay.
He's like twitching and cold sweats and listen, I'm
a
fine.
manager.
I'm impressed that you let me hang this long in the driver's seat.
You did great, by the way. You're a professional. I'm hoping you can up my game.